focusing on how you're breathing, begin to think about what is happening with every breath. So as you exhale, and maybe start tilting your pelvis from your belly button towards your tailbone. And if you like, your eyes can be open or closed, whatever feels the best to you. And see if you can flatten those shoulder blades out underneath you. And notice which breath leads the movement. So I like to exhale as I press my belly button to the floor, and inhale as the tailbone comes down. And I can feel the connection throughout my entire body is how it actually moves my spine. I could feel it all the way up to my neck. You may not, which is fine. Oh, and a side note, I had a little procedure on Monday, so I won't be able to do everything. I have stitches in the middle of my back, so obviously I don't want to rip them open. So as I guide you, do the movement that is the fullest movement for you. So now from here, just lift your right leg up into tabletop and take a moment and kind of shift your hips side to side and find your stable position, that both hips are even on the mat. And keeping your knee bent at 90 degrees, just tap that right foot down and up. And really soften the tap as you come down. And notice how your deep stabilizing muscles in your abdominal area, the lower portion, are beginning to work, beginning to wake up. And then bring that right foot down and let your left leg float into tabletop. And before you start tapping up and down, rock a little side to side so you can really feel where your center is in your pelvis, and then tap up and down on that left leg. And my hands are on my hip bones, so I can feel that they're even. You don't have to do that. It just helps me. And then bring that left foot down and keeping your legs together so you can feel your ankle bones touching, your thighs touching. And it's really up to you how close or far your feet are from your body. I just want you to start opening and closing those knees. And take a moment here and notice the back of your head, the back of your rib cage, and your pelvis. Feel them connecting to the mat. And notice if by any chance your lower back might be pressing into the mat. Can you find that positioning where there's just a tiny little space? If you drill the hole from your belly button to the floor, you should not feel a connection of that small of your back down, but it's okay if it's there. I'd like to encourage you to challenge yourself to find that positioning. And then bring your legs together and bring both arms to the sky and just reach your shoulder blades away from each other as you reach your fingertips to the sky, and then plug them in. So lifting and lowering into the shoulder blades, and you could go a lot further than I'm going. Just feel the shoulder blades moving, getting into that shoulder joint, and maybe adjusting the positioning a little. If your hands are back here, I don't recommend it. It doesn't feel awesome in the neck, and it's really not in a good alignment. And then palms together as you open and close the hands. So your arms are out to the side as if you were doing chest flies. Your elbows are slightly bent, and your hands are in line with the rib cage, the lower part of the rib cage. So bring your hands back down again by your hips and bring both legs up into tabletop and tap one foot down at a time again. Finding the neutral spine again. And as you continue this, reach your arms out to the side and bring them up and down as you alternate a toe tap. You could do it like I'm doing, or you could bring it together. You could play around with this. And then keep the legs going. Maybe bring one arm in the opposite direction of your legs. Or maybe do both together like this. Excellent. You should be starting to feel work happening. You could always take a break, or you could do it from the floor. So you can always find the best version for you. The best part of this is no matter what, you're moving, and that's what we need to do. Okay, everybody come in and grab your shins, and let's do tiny little femur circles into the hip joints. And reverse it. Okay, so let's bring our feet back to the mat, and hopefully my head is, there's like an inch or two from the crown of my head to the mat. I'm gonna grab the edges of my mat. So this should be safe for everybody. And as you exhale, I want you to think of pressing the back of the lowest part of your rib cage in the mat to lift your head, neck, and shoulders up. Holding this, let your head rest into your mat. And then come back down. So by doing this, by doing a chest lift this way, keep going. This is the version that we usually do, and it's very similar, but the difference being is there's a little less concentration in the rib cage. So if you're doing it holding the mat, you're leaning back and there's a little less compression in the ribs. So it's a little safer. It's also kind of nice, you get the sensation of your neck releasing. But you're totally welcome to do the chest lift like this, and same thing, let your head rest into your hands. The only reason I suggest the mat is because everybody likes to do this. And I really want you to focus on letting that head rest back. And then come back down. So for those of you who want, bring your legs into tabletop, lift your head, neck, and shoulders, bring your hands behind your legs, and then poke your toes slowly to roll all the way up to sitting. And notice if you needed a little help there. So we're going to very mindfully roll back a little, sliding your heels on the mat, and slowly, slowly roll all the way down. I went too fast. Poke your toes forward to slowly roll up. Roll your spine down. So this is really great to get that back nice and mobile. This is usually where I have trouble. And then come all the way down. And one more time up. And one more time down. Bring your feet to the mat, hands by your hips, and let's take a couple bridges. So lifting your hips off the mat. Notice if your knees want to go out or in, and can you maintain them in the position from your hip bone through the center of your knee. Watching that the ribs stay in line with the hips, and then slowly roll back down. So we're going to do a few of these. Continue to lift and lower into your bridge. And what I'd love for you to feel is that articulation of your spine as you come up and down. And just really watch. So when you lift the lower part of your hips off the mat, really delay the lift of your upper back. So what I'm looking for is keeping those ribs intact as opposed to flaring and getting a big arch in your upper back. Let's do this one more time and hold it. From here, can you lift the hips even higher? Find a little more extension in the front of that hip joint or the hip flexor right here. See if you can get more extension. What I see a lot of is this. What I'd love to see more of is this. And then slowly roll down again. I'd like to do that one more time, I promise. Lift up. Keep those hips up. Draw the thigh bones towards each other. Lift a little higher in the hips. Keep the ribs down. Take a deep breath here. Exhale out. See if you could lift even higher. As you exhale, roll all the way down. So you should have felt a lot of energy in the back of your legs, even in your back. Walk your feet to the wider edges of the mat and begin windshield wipering your legs side to side. This is my favorite part. And you're going to let both legs drop to the left and stay there. Same thing. I'd love for you to inhale and see if you could feel your body lengthening all over. See if you can create some space in your joints. And as you exhale, see if you can let go of everything. Wring it all out. Even more. Then take your hands behind your head. And as you exhale, when you're ready, lift your right elbow and bring it all the way to the floor on the left side. So if you can get there, great. If not, you can hang out here with me. The only reason I'm not bringing my elbow down is because I want to keep those stitches happy. So just stay here and breathe. And hopefully, no matter where you are, you're feeling a nice stretch, maybe in the lower back, maybe all the way through to the front. Wherever it works for you. I hope you're not feeling a pull in that right knee. If you are, you could bring the knee in a little. Or if you have a yoga block or a roller, you can put that under your knee. And then slide your right leg on top of your left. Press your shoulder blades away from your ears. Lift your right elbow up. Turn your head to look at that elbow and roll down. See if you can get that right shoulder blade towards the floor. With every breath, allow your body to unwind a little further. And then unwind back here and press your right hand into the floor and press into your left forearm, keeping your body aligned. So just make sure that shoulder is over the elbow. Bring your knees back so you're in one long line. You may just stay here or just lift that bottom hip up and lower it down. So try a few just like this. Maybe that's not challenging enough for you. Extend the top leg or extend both legs. Just making sure that you're supporting yourself from underneath and everything is aligned. And then come all the way down. Bend both knees and just lift and lower the top leg. You're always welcome to come all the way back down to the floor. This just gives you a little more. If you'd like, lift your feet and open and close your legs. Good. Just 4 more. And rest for a sec, and we're going to go back down to the floor. Knees are stacked, arms are stacked. If there's any chance this doesn't feel good to you, you can always use your bottom arm as a pillow. Take that top arm and slide it forward on the floor. Then slide it back along the bottom arm, bending that elbow and opening that arm behind you as you look at your hand. Take a nice deep breath here. Unwind that arm back center. And then you can stay on the floor or come back up to that forearm. Straighten both legs. Lift the top leg so your hips remain even. and flex that top foot forward and point that top foot back. Flex and point. And you can do a beat, 2 and 1, 2 and 1. Just making sure those hips stay even. So we're not going to wander back and forth in that pelvis. If you'd like, you can take your arm forward and back, forward, back, hold it, getting a nice stretch in that top leg, top hip. Stay here, lift that top leg up again, and draw a tiny little circle towards the wall where your toes are pointed. And reverse the circle. And just notice, am I sinking into my armpit? This time, draw a little figure 8 in one direction. And reverse it. Try to keep those hips even. And this time, roll to your belly. Don't worry, I will not forget the other side. So from here, take your hands and place them, actually let's do this version. We're gonna do scarecrow. So your forehead is on the mat. Your elbows are in a goalpost position. As you inhale, just lift your nose off the mat. If this feels okay to you, just lift your forearms off the mat, then your elbows, and then your chest. Reach your arms forward, back, and slowly come all the way down. Nose, forearms, elbows, chest, forward, back. Keep going. Just a few more. Just 4, 3, 2, 1, and come down. You can let your head rest to one side. Place your hands under your armpits, nose on the mat, forehead on the mat. Lift the nose up, press your shoulder blades towards your feet, and you can hover your hands off the mat to lift your chest off the mat to lift up. If you feel your lower back, you can widen your feet, and I really want you to think about pressing your pelvis, your hip bones in the mat to stabilize you, and then come back down. Curl your toes under, bring your forearms in front of you, and then press into the heels to find a plank. Hold the plank as you breathe. Keeping everything aligned. So I don't like doing anything more than a 30-second plank. I'm not timing this. And then come to your hands and knees, and let's do a couple cat and cows. So your cat, focus on the lower back reaching the sky, and your cow, feel your chest reaching your sky. Exhale and cat, inhale and cow, and just work through the movements that work best for you. Really take your time, and at this point, let go of right and wrong. And I want you to move in whatever way feels good to you. You can move in a little circle motion like I'm doing. You can shift side to side. You can go back and forth. Whatever works for you. Whatever feels right to you. And then find yourself back to tabletop. And we'll do something for our hands as requested. So just take your hand and shift the positioning so your fingers are pointing towards you, and bring it back and shift hands, switch hands. So we're just coming forward and back. This may not be something you're too happy doing, but I'm hoping you could feel the therapeutic benefit of it. I can definitely feel the difference between hands. If you can do both hands, stay here. And if it's possible, just shift back a little. Ooh, I feel that, especially in the right hand. And then come back, center, unwind the hands, and take a child's pose. As you take your child's pose, send the breath awareness in your lower back and see if you can
create a little more space in the lower part of your body. Exhale, release. Inhale, expand. Exhale, see if you can wring out anything else. On your next inhale, travel forward. Keeping yourself in that tabletop, send your right foot back, keep your hips even. Lift your toes, press your toes back to lift that right leg up. Stay here and just tap and lift that right leg, keeping your hips even. Just a couple more. 2 more. And then keep that leg up and extend your left arm forward and imagine somebody is pulling you in opposite directions as you inhale. Exhale, come down. Take your left foot back, curl your toes under, keep your hips even. Point your left foot back, lift it up, and just tap and lift that left leg, keeping your hips even. Good. So yes, watch. You want to keep that left hip even with the right. Just 2 more. Keeping that leg up, reach your right arm forward. Feel the length between your hand and your foot. And exhale down. So we're going to go ahead and go to the other side. And lay on our side. And we're going to kind of go backwards. We're going to start with our hands on top of each other. Take that top arm, reach it forward. So I'm on the left side now. And I'm going to slide my left arm back. Keep my hips even as I slide my arm up and over my body and look over that left hand. And take a nice deep breath here as you feel your body unwinding. With every breath, let go a little more. And then bring that arm back forward on top of the bottom arm. And we're going to either lay on our sides or prop yourself up, keep your legs long. Lift that top leg and draw a tiny little circle with that top leg. And reverse it. And then figure 8 one direction. And reverse it. And both legs are down. And then come back down again. And hold the back of your head with your hands. Shoulders down. Lift up that top elbow. Turn your head to look at that elbow as you roll back. And just allow yourself to unwind and only go as far back as is right for you. Hopefully you feel the chest opening, the back opening. And then unwind back center. Same thing if you'd like, you can prop up or stay down. And we're just going to start here and just open and close that top leg. Good. Watch that we're not sinking in that shoulder. And if you'd like, you can lift both feet. And then extend both legs and lift that top leg, flex it forward and point it back. If you'd like, you can use the opposite arm and leg. Really lengthening through the body. Hold it. If you like, bend both knees and lift and lower the bottom hip. If that's not challenging enough for you, you can do it here. That's challenging enough for me.
I'm gonna stay here. Just 4 more. 3, 2, and 1. And then we're gonna lay on our backs to get into the next position. And we're just gonna start windshield wiping our legs again, side to side. And let both legs drop to the right this time. Taking a moment to just be, notice how it feels on this side, what's happening. And then press the back of that left leg forward, getting a deeper stretch in that left quadricep. Take your hands behind your head. Pick up your left elbow and bring it all the way to the floor on the right side if that's good for you. Breathe and hold, and remember, you can always bring that left knee in a little more or put something underneath it. I thought that was my phone. Then carefully come back, that's okay. And then we're gonna just bring your legs back to tabletop, hands behind your head. So you can either stay here the whole time, and I just want you to inhale, or actually inhale together, exhale, extend. Inhale, exhale. But if you'd like a little more of a challenge, twist when you extend the opposite leg. And really working on the breath and the movement, keeping the hips stable. I've done this particular exercise as long as I can remember, and I've seen how it's evolved in the different ways you do it. I've seen people do it like this. I've seen the legs go back and forth. See if you can really focus on the control of the exercise. It makes it a lot more challenging. And then lay back again. And your choice, you could take the modified or the full roll up, come all the way up. Feet about mat width apart, arms out to the side, shoulders down, twist a little to the right and a little to the left. So your spine is holding you still. This may be not the best way to say that, but basically I want you to rotate from the spine, rotate from the rib cage. So if you find yourself bringing that arm back, maybe challenge yourself to do it with your arms like this, and you want to maintain that your wrists are in line with your sternum. And then come center. Your legs can stay wide, or you can bring them in a little closer. Hands by your legs and come down forward with a lengthened back as opposed to a forward fold. So you exhale, see if you could press that lower back a little further, and everybody should feel the hamstrings. And then we're going to come back to our hands and knees briefly. Curl your toes under and shift your hips towards your heels and just see how that feels to you. And then see if you can come up just to kneeling and slowly sit your hips towards your heels. Now, if this really bugs your knees, I've been told if you roll a towel and put it right under your knees, it should help alleviate that pressure. What I'm really working on mostly is the foot. So you should definitely feel the bottom of that foot. We really want to make sure our feet stay healthy. Bring your hands back to the floor. We'll take a downward facing dog. Press through the heels of your hands to press back. If you need to, bend your knees. The heels will lift and send them back as far as they'll go for you. Feel the shoulder blades reaching towards your hips. And then walk your hands and feet towards each other and slowly find yourself all the way up to standing. Rolling your shoulders up, back, and down. I'm coming back down since I don't want to be headless on the video. You can come down if you like. I'd like to end you in standing.
And from here, clutch your hands really close, like you're making a tight fist. And then really widen them out. Let's just do 10. This is 8 more. 7. 3, 2, and 1. And sitting nice and tall, let's find Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet together, knees open, and just gently open and close your knees. I know I told you I wanted to end in standing and I made you go back down to the floor. So it just feels good for the inner thighs. And then just find an easy sitting position. And notice, are we leaning really far forward or are we curving back? Do you need to hold on to your knees to sit up tall? You can let your hands here. The reason I hold my shins is because I'm really working on disassociation from the hips. And when I place my hands here, I'm able to allow my hips to let go. And I'm finding the best positioning sitting tall on my tailbone. Then I'm going to lift the right ear to the sky, keeping the shoulders even.
The right ear, you said? Okay.
Yes, if I'm doing this correctly, I'm facing you. It's my left ear, but I would imagine you're seeing it as my right ear.
Good.
Good. And you should feel a stretch in the neck, shoulder. And then turn your head to look over to where the right corner of the room meets the ceiling.
Oh.
And then turn your head down to look at your left armpit. Roll your chin down center. Lift your head up. Roll the shoulders back into a nice position. Notice if you're leaning forward or back. See if you can find that even position. And now you're going to lift your left ear to the sky. Taking a nice deep breath here, just allowing the weight of your head to help you stretch. Then turn your head, look up to where the left corner of the room, where the wall meets the ceiling. And then look down towards your right armpit. Roll your chin center. Lift your head up. Hands back a little. Just really watch that we're not leaning forward. Sitting tall, you're bringing your hands back. I'm going to have, my palms are facing forward. It helps keep the shoulders open. And we're just going to turn our heads to the right. Come center. Turn your head to the left. Come center. Release those hands forward. Now, I'm going to bring it back so my palms are facing away from me and working on making sure I don't curve those shoulders forward. And then turn your head to the left. Look center. Turn your head to the right. Look center, and then release the hands and bring your thumbs to your hearts. Just take a moment to be. Let your head drop down to gaze at your fingertips. I wish you all love, peace, joy, and wonderful good health always. Namaste.
Namaste.
I'm going to turn off the recording.
Namaste. Thank you.
Thank you.